Hi there, I'm Megan. Today we're going to use a little simple bouncy ball to do a self-massage routine for our neck. This is not to replace any ongoing care with a chiropractor, massage therapist, or osteopath, but this can be some nice supplemental home care that you can do throughout your day to help just stay on top of neck tension. If you have longer hair, like myself, you're going to want to make sure that it is pulled up and out of the way. And it can be uncomfortable if you start to roll up into those little hairs at the base of the neck. So be mindful of this. Alternatively, you may want to take a hand towel that you can put across your back for rolling when we get there. Or if you're at home and you have a hoodie on, you can pull the hoodie up so that when we get to that section, you can roll without pulling your hair. So let's begin. Taking our bouncy ball and just coming into our trapezius muscle, and I'm just going to do small circles, just working from the outwards of the shoulder, coming up the side of the neck a little, and I'm just doing little circles. I'm going to start coming all the way up the side of the neck. Really want to think about hanging out just below the ear. We're not coming too far forward to the throat. And once you get all the way up to the base of the skull there behind the ear, let's start rolling down the neck again. And just doing little circles until you get where your neck meets your shoulders and your trap, and starting to roll outwards towards your shoulder. And then let's come, instead of circles, we're going to do the same movement, but we are just rolling forwards and backwards, applying a level of tension that feels comfortable. Again, as you come up, we want to avoid this front section of the throat, so it's not a very huge roll once we get into the neck. And maybe even tilting your head the other side just to open that space through the neck. Nice. And then once you get up behind the ear, we slowly make our way back down again. Coming in, rolling back and forth until we make our way out towards the edge of the shoulder. Good. So take a moment. I'm sure you likely noticed a couple of spots in there that were maybe tender. So if so, you can just go and place the ball on them. And we're going to stay to the top of the shoulder for now. If not, you can aim right for the center into the muscle belly. And we're going to stay still. So I'm just gently applying a pressure down with my hand, pushing that ball in. And just try to relax your shoulders, ease any effort out. We're going to add a little bit of a stretch, so you're going to tilt your head away from your bouncy ball hand, bringing a little bit of stretch that might increase some intensity for you, and then easing back out, maybe moving the ball over just a little bit or finding another sticky spot. Let's start with that static or stationary pressure, pushing down to a comfortable amount. And then dropping ear towards shoulder. Coming back up. Good. Releasing. Just do a couple shoulder rolls backwards here. Notice what you feel. And let's do the same kind of motion on the other side. Just because you have two arms, two shoulders does not mean that you're going to experience the same sensation. So to start, remember, we're starting near the outside of our shoulder and we're just doing some gentle circles. I like to support my other elbow. We want a comfortable depth. You might find some crunchies, some aches and pains. That's okay. Small circles, slowly moving from the outside of the shoulder towards the neck. Slowly coming up the side of the neck. It's a small roll. I'm going to switch hands here. I find it easier than using my dominant hand here. Coming up the neck, we're aiming to stay right underneath the ear. Small motions all the way up until you reach the base of the skull. And then we slowly start to roll back down into the neck. Coming down, I'm going to switch arms as I come out across my traps. It can be a little clunky with the bouncy ball, so really arm positions, whatever makes you feel like you have a little more control, like you're not dropping it or pushing too hard. Good. And now that we've come all the way back out, we're going to repeat that movement up and down the traps, but we're moving in a forward back rotation here. So we're rolling over this part of the upper trapezius, slowly moving closer to the base of the neck. Once you come into the base of the neck, your movement gets significantly smaller. And just noticing these small attachments of the neck muscles, the trapezius, the levator scapula, all these little guys that plug into the sides of the vertebrae. Coming all the way up until the base of the ear and then starting to slowly roll back down. Being mindful of any little hair that might get caught as you go. And coming down forwards and back, working from neck out towards the shoulder. Alrighty. So with neck and shoulder here, we have kind of warmed up the area. Let's do a couple shoulder rolls backwards and just noticing what you felt. Let's come to do some of that static movement and then movement with stretch. So if you found in this portion here there was a couple spicy spots, we want to gently find them and push on them here. If everything felt about the same, you can kind of aim for the middle of the muscle in the muscle belly here. And again, we're just starting with static pressure, so I'm just gently pulling into a comfortable depth. It can feel a little bit of like a pressure point, that's good, but we should be able to breathe through it nice and comfy. Just noticing what's happening with the breath as you do this. And then let's tilt our head, moving away, bringing the muscle into a position of length, feeling it stretch underneath us. Sometimes that changes the experience. So if it feels too deep or too much feedback, you can always reduce the amount of pull from the bouncy ball. Lifting the head back up. Maybe moving over slightly, coming to find a second spot. Let's start just with that static pressure, pushing in. And then adding our head tilt, bringing that sensation of stretch, moving slow, adjusting depth as needed. Releasing, coming back up, letting that fall out. A couple little shoulder rolls, let's do both sides. And then lastly, we're going to do just a little bit of movement through the suboccipital. So that's right where your skull meets the base of your neck. And I'm gonna turn around so that you can see the movement. It's not a very big area. So what we want is our movement to be slow and controlled. Let me get into position here. So, turning around, let's see, yes. So this is the area that we're kind of working on right here. But as I mentioned, it doesn't feel nice with these little hairs. So what I'm going to do is take my handy dandy face cloth here, and I'm just going to cover up the base of my skull. So this is right, that hinge point at the base of the skull. And I'm just going to start those small, small circles, really tiny, working from one side to the middle. If you can reach all the way across, great. It might feel better to switch hands, just working your way across, noticing how it feels. Keep your chin tucked in slightly to help open this area. Start to make your way back to the middle. Doing your little circles, walking out to the side. And then we'll just go back and forth halfway. So from, just behind the ear, rolling the ball to the middle of the skull, and pulling back. Just doing a few of those, allowing the ball to trace the bottom of the skull. Once your hand gets back out to the side, we'll do the same thing on the other side. I find it easier to switch hands for this, but you might feel better reaching across, rolling into the middle, rolling back out. Moving nice and slow with control. Keep that chin tucked in to help that space stay open in here. Good. And releasing through here. Come up for a moment. Turn your head one way, the other way. Bringing your nose back to center. Tuck your chin all the way back in. We'll just do one more. I would recommend that you keep this area covered, but I just want you to really be able to see. And I want you to kind of aim for this middle space between the center at the back of your spine and this base of your skull here. So we're going to aim right for the middle, and I'm just putting in some static pressure, gently pushing in towards the skull. My chin's tucked in slightly so that there is some length in these muscles. These poor little guys are often chronically tight, and they can refer to that space around the forehead or at the top of the head, depending which muscle fibers are affected, causing tension headaches in the scalp and face. Gently release this side, and then we'll find the mid part in between on the other side. Same thing. Ball pushes in, just applying static pressure. I've got a bit of a tuck in my chin so that there is length through these muscles. And then just letting the breath settle. Just allow that pressure in there to do the work. Notice the feedback that you have or don't. And release. Coming up, looking all the way up to the ceiling, tucking the chin all the way down. Maybe looking left and right. And then notice how you feel. Bouncy ball is a great tool to keep in your desk or around that you can easily access for some of these self-massage techniques. So let me know how it goes, if this worked for you, and if this is something you'd like to see more of. I hope to work with you soon for some self-care, some movement, and some mindfulness. Take care.